I want to start by just having a quick look at the dashboard, and particularly the amount of restorable data we have in our recovery point server. You can see there we have 7.6 terabytes of restorable data, but we're only consuming 178 gigs on disk. Now that 7.6 terabytes translates to 7.6 terabytes worth of tapes, or alternatively you could be looking at a cloud solution, which would mean 7.6 terabytes of cloud storage in something like Amazon S3. Now I've got quite a lengthy backup plan. My first step is to take a local backup to a local recovery point server, and then replicating that backup to a secondary recovery point server somewhere in the corporate environment. And then I'm doing a virtual standby. I'm preparing a virtual standby recovery machine in that second environment. I'm then doing an assured recovery test, which is verifying my backup successful, etc. And finally, I'm replicating the backups to a remotely managed recovery point server, which could be managed either by the client themselves or by a managed service provider, and it could be hosted in a cloud provider such as Amazon EC2. I'll just show you the backup plan in action. So I'm just going to invoke a manual backup, which is going to start my incremental backup process. I have speeded this up slightly for the sake of the video, but incremental backups are very quick and obviously have a minimal amount of data backed up. You can see there the backup there is just about complete for that particular server, and very little data was backed up because it is infinitely incremental. The next step was to perform a replication task. So we were replicating from one recovery point server, which could be at a branch office, for example, to a second one, which could be at the head office. The third step in the task, or the next step, is actually to prepare a standby virtual machine on your choice of hypervisor. In this case, I'm using a VMware hypervisor to create a standby virtual machine. And then we're also going to perform what's called an assured recovery test, which is essentially booting up a virtual machine from the backup and verifying that it works, that your backup was good. Now the last step in the plan was to replicate the backups to a remotely managed recovery point server. Like I said, this could be managed by an MSP in the cloud. So what happens when the data arrives in the cloud or at the MSP side of the equation? Well, one thing you can do is a virtual standby task. So what's happening on the screen now is a virtual standby machine is being created in Amazon EC2. So at any time, it's possible to boot up the original server as it was at the point in time of the last or any of the previous backups inside Amazon EC2, which gives us a recovery time that is literally measured in a number of minutes, a couple of minutes. I'm just going to show you on the screen now where I'm showing the screenshot image of the recovered virtual machine. So that effectively is my branch office server having been backed up, replicated and replicated again and prepared as an Amazon virtual machine.